a proper business and to also specialize your own time on the most high value thing that you do.
I mean, people famously say, oh, I don't want to manage people.
Well, I think managing people is when you go past, in some cases, 6 or 7 people. Sometimes you can manage up to like 12. But certainly once you go past 12, you are into management teams and all that sort of stuff, and it gets hairier and more complex. Let's just call it 10 people. So under 10 people, you normally find that you're a self-organizing team. Think about it like a dinner party. If you have 6 or 7 people around for a dinner party, it really does self-organize. People just like get their own drinks and they like bring things to the table and everything kind of works and it's kind of a flowing conversation. If you go over 10, 11, 12 people, 13 people, now it's kind of like you're organizing people and you really, the stress comes on and it's like, guys, it's time to sit down to the table over here now and who's got the drinks and who's doing this, have we got enough food? So suddenly it's like it's a much more complex production to bring that many people together. So there's something magical that happens, which is a self-organizing little team. Certainly 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people. 8 people, you're definitely a self-organizing little team. There's not a lot of managing people in that.
Okay, nice, cool. So apologies for taking us on a little bit of a tangent down that route, but I know that people are interested in the whole solopreneur situation. So 0 to 10K a month, that's like our first step of the process. And so I wonder if, this is something we tried on a previous podcast, if we can sort of pretend to be coaching me as a beginner to entrepreneurship. I don't really know anything about entrepreneurship, but I like the idea.
Sure.
I've maybe listened to you on Deep Dive with Ali Abdaal, and I'm like, oh, this Danny Priestley guy knows what he's talking about. I would like to engage his services as a coach. I know you don't really do one-on-one coaching anymore, but
sure.
like, how would we approach that conversation if I were, say, working a full-time job as a junior doctor, 2 years out of med school, and I want to start a business, but like I don't really know what's next.
So I love a good framework, and my framework for this would be CHAOS. CHAOS stands for Concept, Audience, Offer, Sales. So concept is we need to come up with something that is a good idea, a good concept. When people start business, right? What are we building?
What does that mean?
So a lifestyle business is going to be, are we keeping it small so that you can have fun, freedom, and flexibility? Is that the purpose? Do you want to just travel and work and have a little, gang of people that are, rebels and misfits, and we keep it small and deliberately? The whole purpose is fun, freedom, flexibility, and especially we don't want debt or investors, right? So that would be a lifestyle business, lifestyle boutique, and the second thing would be a performance business, which is we're building something to sell it. We want to become big and valuable. We want to be 50 million, 100 million plus in valuation. We want 50 employees. We're happy to take on investors. We want investors. We want debt. We want to build something that's going to be valuable. So the first thing I'd want to know is, do you want a lifestyle business or do you want a performance business? I think of it like a property developer with a block of land. Do you want to put your dream home on the block of land, or do you want to build a 10-story building and sell it? Like property development.
Okay, I want to make, if I could make 3K a month, that will allow me to quit my job, and then I'll be happy.
So it sounds like a lifestyle, the beginnings of a lifestyle boutique, right?
Yeah,
so,
sure.
And this is not a bad place to start. Normally, a performance business is something that you would do if you've got really good guidance, and it might be your second time through. So that would be the first thing. The next thing I'm looking at is what we call OMV, Origin Story, Mission and Vision. So what is your background? And we need to do something that lines up with your background. There's no point where we don't have any passions or any, like when you talked about trading before, I see people, they've got some trading videos online and then they're like, oh, I'm going to be a trader. Why? Oh, because so-and-so said that I could end up with a helicopter. Okay, amazing. And it's like, what about your background says trading? Nothing. You've never done, you're not analytical, you're not, you don't have any of the kind of background that a trading firm would want to see in a trader that they hire. None of that's there. You've just seen something that you think makes money. So there's no origin story. Whereas let's look at you. You became a amazing YouTuber, but your background was teaching people. You were helping. Cambridge. You were talking to people about how to. You had one of your first businesses teaching people how to study for exams. So there is actually a background there. You also were passionate about media. and you were doing stuff in the media space. So you had a bit of an origin story that was leading up to this.
So what would that look like for someone who maybe, like, I've spoken to a lot of people who would say, oh, but I don't have anything I'm passionate about. Like, I'm studying insert generic degree at insert generic university, and in the evenings I go home and watch Netflix and scroll social media and hang out with my friends. Like, what in that context, how do we approach talking to that person about this origin story?
If I had time with that person, I would discover that around age 10, there were moments where there were the early moments of empowerment. Now, I've worked with enough entrepreneurs to discover that always around age 10 to 13, there was a moment where you discovered that you were actually independently powerful, separate to your parents. And you have a moment of like, wow, okay, you know what? I'm not just a dumb kid. There's something going on here. So you might have stood up to a bully. You might have taken ownership of something. You might have, put together a little play, something like that. So there's always clues in that. And psychologically, one thing I've found about entrepreneurs is that they're, at a very deep level, they're trying to get back to that feeling of empowerment. And it started early. So let me ask you the question. Around age 10 to 13, do you remember a particular early memory where it was like, I had a moment of empowerment? I had a moment that feels like elements of putting stuff out to the world, like you're actually creating something and putting it out to the world. And there's elements of like no permission, right? Now, if we go and fast forward to YouTube, it's a no permission platform. You're creating something for the world and you're putting it out there in the world. So there's all these kind of echoes of that early memory. So what happens is that this ingrains in us pretty early, and everyone's got one, right? So we all have a moment. Sometimes it's a negative experience. So sometimes, a silly example, the origin story for Batman is he's a victim of crime. His parents are killed, and he realizes that he is on his own, right? He has to figure it out real fast on his own that he's now a 10-year-old kid who's orphaned, right? So that's his origin story, and he has to wake up one day and say, I'm going to work with this situation that I'm in. Right? So that is his moment of empowerment. I know it's a fictional story, but it resonates, and it's a story that stood the test of time, but it's a good origin story example that everyone relates to.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's negative, as in like something bad happens and you have to just face it. And in many cases it's very positive. I had one, I was 10 years old, and I hosted my own garage sale. So we had some stuff in the house that was damaged. We had a little kitchen fire and it damaged some stuff, and I decided to clean it and sell it. And one of the things was a microwave, and this guy comes up to me at the garage sale, and he says, how much for the microwave? And I say, $20. He says, can I talk to your dad? I say, oh, okay, I must have done something wrong. So I go and get Dad, and Dad comes out, and he says, what's the problem? And he says, well, your son says the microwave's $20, but will you take $15? And Dad looks at him, and he says, well, it's his business. You'll have to negotiate with him. And I just, in that moment, just went, whoa. It's my business. You'll have to negotiate with me. So here's this adult, and he looks at me like embarrassed, and he says, "Oh, can I give you 15?" And I'm like, "No, it's 20." So in that moment, I'm feeling incredibly like empowered, and I heard this word called business, and it's my business, and I started an entrepreneurial venture. I took something that was a negative, which was a little house fire, or something got damaged. I cleaned it, I fixed it, I sold it, I made money. I ended up with a green bicycle and Sega Master System. So for me, this was like, whoa, you can take bad situations and through this thing called business, you can make it into good things. So that was my moment of empowerment, and it's no surprise that I ended up as a serial entrepreneur.
And so we're saying that the concept for your business should ideally be linked to some sort of origin story.
When you try and do things purely to make money, right? Money's a part of it, right? Money's a big part of it. When you try and do things purely to make money, it never works. It just doesn't work. Everyone who makes money, whether it's Warren Buffett or some amazing hedge fund manager, my goodness, it runs deep in their veins. There's something about it. They're not just trying to make money. They're trying to get back to a certain feeling.
Nice.
There's something in there that needs to be unpacked.
So what would you say for someone who's listening to this and thinking, damn, 10 to 13, I don't really have anything. I was just like hanging out with my friends, TBH.
You might be an NPC. Look, honestly, if you're really that stuck, entrepreneurship is an advanced strategy You need to go and work for an entrepreneur. You need to go and do 6 months with this company, 6 months with this company. You need to go fishing around. This is not like entrepreneurship is not some ticket to riches. Entrepreneurship is a really good ticket to be stressed all the time, to sit up late thinking about your business, to get really freaked out about whether customers like stuff or not. Entrepreneurship is an advanced move. It's something that you should do. But you should actually be an entrepreneur begrudgingly. You should go, there's this thing that has to happen in the world. No one's doing it. I'm going to do it, right? But it's not, it's a bumpy road that ends smooth. It's not a smooth road.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. And there are 6 million businesses already in the UK. There's 30 million plus in the USA. Go join one. Go and join a team. Stop trying to get a job at Goldman Sachs where you're going to be shoved in a corner and you're not going to know how that business runs or what, who makes the decisions or where things come from. Yeah. Go work with a team of 8 people. Find out how they make the sales. Get to know how they generate leads. Get to know, what do you do when a customer is upset with you, right? How do you handle a customer complaint? Go and work in a small business. Start working side by side with entrepreneurs. And if you can work for an entrepreneur for 6 months to 2 years, and you go, actually, I could do this, and I've got an idea. That's the thing. So I'm not going to try and tell someone, if you're struggling with this, just keep pushing through. Maybe you're just not ready.
This episode is very kindly brought to you by Huel. I've been using Huel. I've been a paying customer of Huel.
Ever wondered why you should get an LLC with a third party when you can do it all by yourself? Yeah, of course. Those companies want to make a profit.
Since 2017, and since my 5th year of medical school when I first discovered it. And basically what it is, if you haven't heard of it, is that it is a meal in a shake. It's got a perfect balance of carbs and fiber and proteins and fat, and it contains 26 different vitamins and minerals. All you do is add water or milk to the powder. Usually I use water. You can shake it up or you can blend it. I prefer to blend. And then it becomes a fantastic option if you're like me and you're kind of busy and so you don't really have time for breakfast or lunch. My favorite version is the Huel Black Edition. It's absolutely sick. 400 calories, 40 grams of protein for 400 calories. I'm trying to get hench and it's actually pretty hard to find something that has such a high protein content for such a low calorie trade-off. And so I really like using the Huel Black Edition to start my mornings off. It's vegan, it's gluten-free, it's lactose-free. The Black Edition is available in 9 flavors. My favorite is salted caramel. And I wouldn't recommend having every single meal Huel because that gets a bit annoying after a while, but it's absolutely fantastic. It's like one of the meals of the day, especially if you're busy and you're gonna kind of default to something unhealthy otherwise. It's also very affordable, so it actually works out to £1.68 per meal for a 400 calorie meal, which is just incredible value and actually way cheaper than other generic protein shakes in the market. And it saves a bunch of time because it's so quick and easy to make. And so it's particularly exciting that they're sponsoring the podcast, and actually we had the founder of Huel, Julian Hearn, who was on the very first season of the podcast. That was a sick episode that got so many rave reviews as well. Anyway, if you're interested in trying out Huel, then head over to huel.com/deep dive, and if you use that URL, A, it really helps me out, but B, you also get a free t-shirt and also a free shaker that comes with your order. So go to huel.com/deep dive. That'll also be linked down in the video description or the show notes, and thank you so much, Huel, for sponsoring this episode. This episode is very kindly brought to you by Trading212. Now, people ask me all the time for advice about investing because I've made a bunch of videos about it on the YouTube channel. And my advice for most people is generally invest in broad stock market index funds, which is exactly what you can do completely for free with Trading212. It's a great app that lets you trade stocks and funds and ETFs and foreign exchange if you really want to. And one of the great things about the app is that if you're new to the world of investing, you can actually invest with fake money. You don't have to put real money in. They've got a practice mode where you invest fake money and then it actually tracks what the market is doing in real time. So you can see, had I invested £100 into this thing, what would my return have been X weeks or X months further down the line? Once you've got some comfort with that, then it's super easy to deposit money into your Trading212 account. You can use Apple Pay, like I do initially, or you can use a direct bank transfer. And then once the money's in your Trading212 account, then you can invest it in basically whatever you want. Now, if you're based in the UK, you might be familiar with the concept of an ISA, which is an individual savings account, which is basically a tax-free wrapper that you can put money in. You can put £20,000 in every year, up to £20,000, and it resets every April, and then all that money can grow, and it's completely tax-free for the rest of your life. And if you want to sign up for an ISA, you can sign up for one completely for free, also on Trading212. So if you haven't yet filled up your ISA allowance, or at least put some money into your ISA for this year, that might be a good step forward. Also, very excitingly, there's a new feature that they've added to the app, which is a daily interest on your uninvested cash. These interest rates may go up or down over time as the economic environment changes, but the cool thing is that you get paid out every single day. It'll give you is that a potential origin for a potentially entrepreneurial journey?
It's certainly an origin story. There are literal elements to that. There are also just emotional elements to that story. So there's performing in front of people, being the star of the show. There's creating a physical product and being out there selling it. So there's those elements that can also play a role. It doesn't literally have to be that you have to be a musician, but it could be that you want to work in that space. What we're trying to do, and we're really early on, right? So we're just having a look at, basically we're just having a look at origin, mission, and vision. So origin is what's your background. Vision is what would you love to see happen in the future. What do you see happening, like lifestyle or performance business? Do you see yourself selling this business? Do you see like what is the exciting element? What do you want to do for the world? So all that's in the vision.
Okay.
And mission is what is the most high value thing that you can do right now. So mission is like in World War II, the vision was to defeat the fascists, and the mission was to storm the beaches. So you can see that there's a big vision. This is the end result that we're looking for, and today this is what has to be done, or this is the thing that is most important. So in business, a vision is where do we want to get to, and a mission is what is our high value thing. So for me, my mission is develop entrepreneurs who stand out, scale up, and make positive impacts in the world. And if I wake up and do that mission, then there's a pretty good chance I'm delivering high value. Right, so that we start with those basics. Let's make it more practical, right? It's all philosophical at this point. So practically, you then want to ideate. You want to come up with 10 concepts. You want to look at what problems can you solve, and who's willing to pay the most for those problems. So it's really important that we combine those other elements. A lot of people are very hung up on passion, but there's two other elements of a good concept, and that is that you're solving a problem in the world and that people are paying for that problem.
Okay.
So here's the unfortunate truth. When it comes to any problem in the world, there are people who throw their time at the problem in order to solve it, and there are people who've got loads of money and they want to throw money at the problem to solve it. And if you want to run a great business, you need to talk to people who've got money to throw at the problem. So
yeah, this is the issue I often find with students, in that the only market they know is students, and students famously do not enjoy throwing money at a problem. They throw time at problems, and then they're like, "Oh, why is my business struggling?"
Yeah,
it's like because you're trying to appeal to students.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're trying to get market. You're trying to appeal to a market that loves to spend time on stuff. They got no money to throw at it. Whereas if you simply had 3 clients who are multimillionaires and you were solving some sort of problem for them, you'd make loads of money.
How does one go about finding ideas? Is it a case of you lock yourself in a room with you and your buddies and you're like, think of some business ideas, or what's the...
You come up with 10 ideas and you pick the best 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And you go and then you test them. And you test them as fast and as cheap as you possibly can. So you're looking for an idea where you push the door and people respond. Push the door and it opens. You're not trying... Like, I hate how people think entrepreneurship's really hard. It is really hard, but it's hard. The good types of businesses are hard because there's too much to do and not enough time. So, like, the hard problem that you want to have is there's too many people who want this and I can't keep up with them. I've got 40 people to call back today and I don't have time to call back all 40 people. That's the problem you want.
That's a good kind of hard.
Yes, you don't want to have a problem that's like, oh, this is like no one's interested.
Yeah. So I remember when I was in my 3rd year of uni, I was the president of the Pakistan Society, and we had a ball, like a charity ball every year, and it was such an absolute nightmare trying to sell tickets for this ball, because we were selling £35 tickets to students who did not have any money, who...
£35 is a lot.
It was a lot of money. I was really like, it felt so, like, hard, because it's like, there was no demand for this, and it was like having to Facebook message people that knew at other universities to be like, guys, you're gonna love this event, it's really fun, and like, in the back of my mind, I knew that like, it's a lot of money, these guys don't have money, it's not really that good objectively, but like, having to be a sort of snake oil salesman in that context, I hope no one from the Paxlock days is listening to this, but I really felt like I was a snake oil salesman, and that gave me a real sense of when it came to trying to sell that. Whereas when we opened the door for our YouTuber Academy, suddenly, oh crap, we've got more demand than we even know what to do with.
Yeah, one of the great questions is like, does this product deliver someone a return? Like, what's the return on investment for them? And if there's like a 10 to 1, if you can think about a 10 to 1 return, it normally is going to be a good. People are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
So YouTuber Academy clearly is worth 10 to 1. All right. If I start a YouTube channel and it succeeds, I'm going to earn money. I've got got sponsorship opportunities. I'm going to build a personal brand. It's going to create digital assets that last forever. There's all these positives that could easily be defined as a 10-to-1 ratio. So whatever I spend, there's a great return, and it's nice and clear that there's a nice return. So a lot of good products, you can actually explain how it returns. What is the return on this product? And there's a quite a clear imbalance.
Okay. So coming back to our idea thing, generating 10 ideas. So what does an idea look like at this stage? Is it like a A3 business plan, or is it like a tweet, or like what makes a business idea a concept?
So yeah, it's probably a page of notes about the idea in the early stages. So we're going to talk about what's the product going to look like, who might it be for, those sorts of things. But then pretty quickly we want to test it. So I've got 3 ways that I like to test ideas. I like to run an intro event, which is purely and simply just an introduction to blank. I like to run a quiz, which is are you ready to blank, answer 10 questions and find out on Score App.
Sure.
And I like to do a WhatsApp group. So
WhatsApp group?
Yeah, WhatsApp group is like so WhatsApp group is like for example, if I was going to do the Pakistan ball, I would say we're thinking about doing a Pakistan ball. All the tickets will be released in this WhatsApp group. Would you like to join the free WhatsApp group and get early access to tickets? So it's like just purely and simply, if I can get people to join the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
I'll give you a real life example. A friend of mine, Max, he wanted to create a product for what's called a family office. A family office is a very high net worth family who employs people to manage their money full time. Right? So he wanted, yeah, exactly. The people who've got so much money they need to have a full time money manager. So he wanted to put together a group of people who do that, who are family office managers. And what he did is he started a WhatsApp group, and he basically said, I'm putting together a WhatsApp group for people whose families, family office managers